Hi everybody, welcome to Inside the Lab. I am Kelly, I'm the founder of Collage-Lab, and this is going to be a regular feature here on our YouTube channel. So I'm Kelly. You'll get to know me over the next few episodes, but I'm not going to take up a lot of time today introducing myself. I am going to introduce you to Collage-Lab if you are brand new to my world. Collage-Lab started in early 2020 and has grown. I've offered all sorts of classes. I love collage, and the thing I love about it is the accessibility of it. And when I got into mixed media collage, I started really enjoying the experimental approach that we can take to working with all sorts of papers and all sorts of art supplies. So I would love to invite you on this journey with me. We have free play dates that I host almost every month. I host a couple of challenges every year, Treasure Trovember, which is going on right now, and then also Mixed Media March Minis. You can watch the playlist from this year's Mixed Media March Minis and see me playing with 31 different techniques. So Inside the Lab is going to be your peek behind the scenes of my art practice, my business, teaching, things that are happening at Collage-Lab. You'll get to meet some of the people in our membership, and there'll be tutorials. I'll share favorite supplies. There'll be a lot going on here. And today for episode 1, I want to welcome you and take you behind the scenes at Inside the Lab. Stay tuned. I'm going to share a very favorite new tool. I'm going to share some books that are on my collage bookshelf. And I've got a very special interview coming up with Ira Carter, who is a member at Collage-Lab and an amazing collage artist that you're going to want to get to know. There's also a little tutorial and some other fun surprises. So stick around and welcome to Inside the Lab. If you're like me, you probably love art supplies. And so today I want to share with you Tool of the Week, one of my favorite cutting tools, and I'll show you and tell you why I like that one. You can also get a free download of my 13 favorite cutting tools. The description will be down below. It's called Cut It Out. It's a free guide, and this is one of my favorite cutting tools. This week's tool of the week is a circle cutter, and not just any old circle cutter. I'll show you some that I am not going to recommend first. First of all, there's this one, which is a perfectly good circle cutter, but I cannot tell you the number of times somebody has said, "What is this? How do I use it?" This is by Alpha, and it is a good circle cutter. It's got a blade holder safety cover here, extra blades there, and it works like a compass. It's got a point, and then it's got a blade. And so with this little measuring guide, which you can't see the numbers, but there's a little measuring guide so you can determine what diameter circle you want to cut. With this one, you do always have to cut in the correct direction for it to actually cut your paper, and you have to hold this point down, which is going to pierce your paper, which you may or may not love. So I don't recommend that one. It's kind of difficult to use. It's kind of confusing. And then I found a paper cutter, circle cutter on a YouTube channel a couple years ago, and I thought, oh, this is amazing. And so I ordered it, and this is by We Are Memory Keepers. And what this one does, you can probably hear it's got ball bearings in it, and it's got different gauges for different size circles, and it lifts up and you place your paper in here, and then you move this little handle. You can reposition the handle into a series of holes depending on what size circle you want to cut. And you'll see I have drawn an arrow going counterclockwise because this little blade will only cut in one direction, and it doesn't move very smoothly. And when you put your paper in here, it's going to pierce holes into it. That's the only way it holds your paper, and so you're going to end up ruining the edges of whatever paper you're using. I just hate it. I didn't even think I still had it. I thought it was on its way to the thrift store, and I actually just saw it in a box today that was labeled to go to the thrift store. So I thought I'd pull it out and just show you. The We Are Memory Keepers circle cutter is not my favorite, not recommended. But I did find another one that I love, and I'll put a link down below. This is a super simple design. It has a blade right here on the bottom, replaceable. You unscrew this a little bit and you can move along the measurements to whatever size circle you want. Very easy to set that diameter in centimeters and inches. And there's nothing here that is going to pierce my paper. Well, how does it keep from moving around, right? There's something here. It's not sticky, but it does hold onto the paper when you put pressure on the ball. So I'm going to show you how I cut out some circles. Of course, you're going to want a self-healing mat underneath whenever you're using a blade like this. This one, even if you're cutting little circles, you do need some space around because this entire thing moves around as you're cutting. So I am going to place this in about the center of just a piece of scrapbook paper. I'm going to hold it down with one hand, and I can cut either direction. It's got that two-sided blade, so I can cut in either direction, and I just move it around. This is stuck, and so I can, switch hands easily, and I can go ahead and cut a perfect circle. So I'm going to lift this off, and you can see I have a perfect circle. If I make my diameter a little bit smaller, just by adjusting that and place that in about the center again, I'm going to cut another circle inside my circle. And now I have a circle and a ring. So this is my new favorite circle cutter. This week on the Collage bookshelf, I thought I would highlight a couple of books that Collage-Lab published last year using collages by some of the students in our Collage Chronicle program. And so what they did is created collages for this Collage Artists Reimagine Fairy Tales series. And so we released Emperor's New Clothes, which featured collages from our 2022 Collage Chronicle.
and it is the story of the Emperor's new clothes. And it was just a really fun project, so we did it again in 2023. We did the 3 little pigs, and you can see that these were a really fun group of collages that tell the story of the fairy tale, featuring these fabulous artists, and letting people see the variety of collage work that can be created. The reason I'm bringing these up this week is that we've got more fairy tales coming, and I'd like to invite you to a virtual book launch in November for our next fairy tale project.
Next up is a tutorial that I'm calling Recipes for Success. This tutorial is inspired by an exercise that we just did in the Collage Playground class, which was part of our membership. Collage Playground was a fun approach to composition. And so in today's tutorial, we're going to take a black and white monochromatic color palette, and we are going to work with a cruciform composition as our format. You can download the recipe. There's a link down below, and this is designed so you can print the recipe out, put it in a binder if you'd like. I'm going to be putting mine into an old cookbook, and there's also an option to print it as a 4x6 index card so you could keep your recipes in a recipe box. It's going to be full of projects and ideas as this series goes on. If you're looking for ideas, do please check out my free download, 100 Collage Ideas. It's full of fun ways to challenge yourself when you don't know what to do.
So for this little tutorial, I'm going to combine a couple of little lessons. First of all, we're going to work with a black and white monochromatic color palette. So I've just pulled some black and white, some text, some images, patterns, different things to give me some variety in my black and white materials. So we'll go back to those in a minute. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to work with a cruciform composition. Cruciform basically means cross, and it is a composition where we have a strong vertical line and a strong horizontal line. Now, if we just did a cruciform like this, it would look like a window and be kind of boring. We have 4 different quadrants here, and again, the strong vertical and strong horizontal. A little more interest would be added if we made one of those lines, at an angle, off center. Anything like that is going to give us more interest. We've still got our 4 quadrants. We've still got those strong division lines. And of course, those lines, rules are meant to be broken. And so even this one has a strong vertical. It kind of takes a detour, and a strong horizontal. It starts at an angle and then goes off there. But we still have the key part of the cruciform, which is 4 distinct quadrants. What makes a cruciform work is those 4 quadrants work together somehow. So I'm going to create on a 6x6 inch piece of watercolor paper. You can do this in your sketchbook. You can do this on any substrate that you like. I've got my black and white papers to choose from, and a glue stick, some scissors, and a ruler and a pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just giving myself a guideline, just a light pencil mark, how I might want this to work. And this is just a guide. I don't have to follow it. I can go over the lines, but I like to have some kind of mark down before I get started. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for 4 different quadrants. And so I'm going to look for papers that are, different values, different patterns, different lines, things like that. I love using text, and so I may use this white on black text in one of the quadrants. I like that. And let's see what else. This picture really spoke to me because I really love the pattern of the chain link fence, and so I think I might use that for one of the quadrants. This is from a gift bag, and I like the strong black and white. I love circles, so that's going to be different than the pattern here or the text. So that's 3. Let's see what else I can use. Maybe a different kind of text. So this is from a lettering handbook, and so it's not readable to us nowadays, but it makes a really nice pattern. So I think I'm going to start with those. I'm going to set the other stuff aside and just start playing with my 4 quadrants. And so I really like this. I'm just going to go ahead and rip this with my ruler. Get started a little bit. I like this angle going down. So I think I'm going to just tear this along the edge of my paper and again at the bottom. And I'm going to play. I can overlap, I can layer, I can do some very different things here. I think the text is really nice, and so I think that's going to go up in this top quadrant. Tear. I'm just getting this to a more manageable size so that I can envision how it's going to look here. And again, I can go over my lines, and I can make new lines, but we've got 2 quadrants here. I think I like that. I think what I'm going to do with this text is, I think I'm going to fit it into this quadrant, but I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to kind of deconstruct these letters. Cut through them, and I think they're going to cut through them just like this. And rearrange them. And so I like the look of typography, using it as letter forms, as shapes. Something like this. So that's really, I find that pretty interesting. And then the top left quadrant, I'm just going to tear this gift bag, get an angle, and that would be the top quadrant. So I've got definitely different things going on different values. This is a lighter value, this is a darker value on this side, and I like that. So I'm going to start gluing that down, and I'll speed it up a little bit for you. This is my basic cruciform. I have 4 different quadrants and got a strong vertical and a strong horizontal. They are each individual and they do work together as a whole. The other thing I enjoy in something like this is looking at the composition, 4 different orientations and see if there's something that strikes me as being, cooler. I think I like this one like that. Another thing that we can go into this with is where we have this intersection between the 4 quadrants is a great place for a focal point of some sort. So I've got this fun image. I love this playground metal kind of grid work, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut kind of a wonky circle, not with a circle cutter, not perfect, just kind of freehand. See if I like that there. And the neat thing about this, the way those lines go, kind of directs her eye back in. I like that. I think I want it to be a little bit smaller. Just trim it. Maybe a little wonkier. But I do want those lines just bringing that back in. Just a little glue. And at this point, I would usually go in here and do a little bit of mark making. I don't know if it's necessary, but you are welcome to go ahead and add to your piece. Markers, acrylic paint, paint pens, ink, correction fluid, stitching, crayon, graphite, anything, black and white to really add to the composition. All of the ingredients for this little recipe you can find in the download right below this video, and download this monochrome cruciform recipe, and I'd love to see what you create with it.
Speaking of challenges, I encourage you to also participate in this month's Treasure Trovember. It is a 30-day collage challenge like no other. I know it's the middle of the month, but you can catch up very easily. This is a challenge where we add 1 item a day to our collage for 30 days. So you can go find the welcome video in the links down below. Register for Trovember. You'll get a free guide that's going to give you some tips and tricks, and then jump right in. I also want to give a couple of shout outs. My lab coat was custom painted by a local artist here in Rockport, Texas, Kacie Kretch. She's the owner of ROWDY MAUI, which is like the coolest store on the planet. I will put a link to her website down below. And the Collage T-Shirt is from Sharp Hands Gallery. I'm not sure if they still have any available, but I'll link to their website below as well. So today I am starting to pack up some jewelry kits for an upcoming class inside the Collage-Lab membership called Collage Your Style, where we'll be creating
wearable art using collage. And so each of the people that ordered a kit will get a package of air dry clay. They will get a wooden bangle. They'll get one of these wonderful metal cuffs. They will get 1, 2, 3, 4 vintage slide frames. They'll get 1, 2, 3 dominoes. They will get some jewelry tools, pliers and such. They will get some fender washers for one of the projects. They will get some wooden cutout earrings. So grab a few pairs of those. And let's see, some cords that already have the hardware on them, the catches and all. They'll get those. And let's see, an emery board. Got some up here that are open. Emery board for sanding edges. And, oh, the fun part, all the little things. So, little glass pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Some magnets for backing. Make mini magnets or little lapel pins with those. And then we get into the really tiny stuff. Little jump rings, little eye pins, earring wires. And so I got a bunch of little tiny coin envelopes, and I will be counting out pieces of the jewelry findings. We'll also have the silver bales. These are really nice. And some bar pins. All sorts of supplies for this upcoming class. So I'm not going to bore you with my counting. I've got all my little envelopes. They'll all be counted and labeled, packed in these boxes, and shipped off to the The best thing I have found about Collage-Lab is the community. I started a membership a year ago, and it's amazing. The people that we meet there are so fun to hang out with, so inspiring, supportive, and just plain wonderful people. And so today I actually got to sit down with one of our founding members, collage artist Ira Carter. You are going to want to hear what he's got to say and see some of his work in this members spotlight. Well, I am so excited to do a member spotlight with one of our very special members at Collage-Lab. I want to introduce you to Ira Carter. And Ira, you were the very first founding member when I opened the membership last year, but you've been around Collage-Lab since almost the beginning. When I opened the membership, what inspired you to join?
I've thought about this, and I think the logical thing to say would be that I wanted to get the benefits of membership of the various classes and do that. But I already really felt awash with Collage-Lab and the things I was doing, and was very busy and was receiving a lot of benefit. So I think the decision was based more on how I felt with the companionship I felt with the various other members and the enjoyment I got in with their company. And also, of course, because I believed in Collage-Lab and what you were doing and was excited about it, I wanted to support that when you put something new out there.
Thank you. Well, you were the very first founding member. I call you the foundingest of founders, and your support since the very beginning has always been amazing. Not just what you do to support me and Collage-Lab, but what you do to support the whole community. As one of the few male members in Collage-Lab, does that influence your experience with the community?
It goes both ways. That influences my experience, but my experience also influences how I enter Collage-Lab. Because for most of my adult life, I've ended up hanging out in majority female environments. So I've been a teacher, I've been a technical writer, I've attended a variety of exercise classes. So by the time Collage-Lab rolled around, I was already pretty comfortable existing in a woman's world and just trying to be at ease with my place in it. And I would like to add to that the women of Collage-Lab have been very gracious to me. They haven't treated me like some weird outlier. They've just treated me like another member, another participating person, rather than an icky boy or something. So
Yeah, and you're not the only male, but you are probably the most active and visible. But it is not an all girls club or anything like that. So
no, and I haven't been made to feel like it was either. So I'm aware of feeling like it's not, and that there's certainly a place at the table for me.
there certainly is, and I'll bring up another distinction. You work in both digital and analog or cut and paste collage. Can you tell me how you balance or blend those approaches and what you enjoy about each of them?
Well, it's probably good to give some background in my journey because, like everybody else, long before there was digital collage, I would get the San Francisco Chronicle, the Sunday San Francisco Chronicle or Time magazine, and cut it apart and put it back together with rubber cement. So I was making analog collage before there was even an option of digital. And then I started working in the tech industry, and I had access to some tools to start playing with the ability to collage with that. Because I have some experience working with Photoshop and other digital tools, I feel like I can get ideas down quickly working digitally. And I really like that. I really think my collage practice is as much about getting ideas down as it is about making attractive things or making things overall. And so for that, it's a very handy tool, but I also am working with a variety of other analog platforms. I go to Trovember. I do various collaborations with people. I've worked with some Collage-Lab collaborations with board books, and also I'm working with people, friends, in other places where I'm working on artist books. We did the fairy tale book. So I find a lot of opportunities to still work with analog.
You've been an incredibly helpful and collaborative member of the Collage-Lab community. How has collaboration influenced both your creative process inside and outside of the membership?
I am aware that there are certain sensibilities that I bring that you could define as a trick bag. I have my tricks and approaches and techniques and attitudes, and I really like the way that collaboration makes me think outside of my comfort zone and pushes me in different directions. So I've really enjoyed that, and I've been really blessed in Collage-Lab and prior to Collage-Lab with a variety of people that I've had kind of an ongoing back and forth of collaborative work. So I've gotten to have a lot of experience with it, and then it makes you comfortable with working without a rope, so to speak, tightrope, so to speak. So I've really enjoyed doing it, and I also feel like it's a really important part of my practice and thinking in new ways and coming up with new kinds of solutions.
What are some of your favorite projects or challenges that you've participated in within the Collage-Lab community?
Well, within the Collage-Lab community, the ones that I've been enjoying lately, oddly enough, since we talked about different platforms, are all analog things. So I really love Trovember. Kelly and I, over the last, 3-4 years, have come up with a variety of different approaches and solutions to Trovember. So I'm not just trying to put images on the page. I'm also thinking strategically, am I going to make 3? Am I going to make 4? And, what kind of materials am I going to use? How am I going to structure it? So it really stretches my brain, and I enjoy that a lot. I have enjoyed the board books that we've done, the member ones where they proposed a theme for it, and also the fairy tale one that I worked on recently, the Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, with respect to Treasure Trovember, I think it was last year, you got to a certain point in your Trovember collage and you just really liked it. And so you stopped and then you started the challenge over again. You got a piece that you enjoyed and didn't want to continue adding to, right?
You're right. Yes, that's what I was talking about thinking strategically, and also then being open to the process of having the confidence to say, well, the rules say that you have to go 1 through 30, but I'm just, that doesn't mean that I have to obey all those rules. If I'm having a good experience, I think you would agree that what you want people to do when they do Treasure Trovember is have a good experience more than produce an outcome of a certain kind.
Exactly. And I feel like anything that I teach or assign or challenge you, I want everyone to just kind of take what you want, do it your own way, make every lesson your own.
This has been one of my favorite things about Collage-Lab since I've started working with you, is that there's a lot of people who will teach you how to use a certain process. This is how you can make a collage with a woman's head and flower petals or whatever. This is what I like, is that you're having a dare I say, metacognitive approach to getting people to think outside of the actual making process and turn it into more of the entire creative process and personal growth that may or may not be related to a creative process. So I appreciate that a lot, and I have noticed it, and I think other people notice it and really appreciate it too.
I think that is one thing that makes Collage-Lab different from other teachers online, especially right now. Ira, thank you so much for joining me today. Where can our viewers find more of your work? I will go ahead and put links in the description, but go ahead and tell us.
I will tell you that I gave that information to Kelly, but primarily I'm showing right now on an Instagram account and on a Tumblr account, and nobody but me seems to know what Tumblr is, but there are other people posting on Tumblr, and I've been on Tumblr forever. I don't know whether it's like 10 years or what, but it could be longer than 10 years. And I've enjoyed posting there and getting input and output of what other people post and also what I'm able to post there. So Kelly will have the information to post on those.
Those links will be right in the description. And thank you so much for joining me, Ira. And if you want more information about Collage-Lab or the Collage-Lab membership, all of that will also be in the description.
The Collage-Lab membership only opens a couple of times a year, but if you want to join Ira and all the other amazing collage makers inside of our community, you should get on the wait list now. There's a link right down below. No obligation to join, but you'll be the first to know when I open the doors again. Thank you so very much for joining me today for this episode of Inside the Lab. If you would do me a favor, since this is brand new, in the comments below, tell me what your favorite part was today. Also, let me know if you've got any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. I'd love to see you around Collage-Lab, taking part in Trovember, getting on the wait list for our membership, or any of the other things that we have going on. It's really been a pleasure to spend time with you today, and I hope you tune in for the next episode of Inside the Lab. Keep cutting and pasting, and have a great day.